emotional pain, it hits much harder, and it lasts longer. You just need to pull up your big boy pants and take it.
The more I think about it as a competitive landscape, as I'm clear on what this path is supposed to look like, and these rocks and these dragons are things that I'm going to have to slay along the way to get the princess or get the treasure, I get happier about the harder it is because I know that no one else will follow.
It's a selection effect.
And I think if you can shift from this is hard to no one else will be able to do this, then it flips from being this thing that you're like, oh, poor me, to oh, poor everyone else who's going to have to fucking try.
Yeah.
And I think that is so much more motivating as a frame for the exact same circumstance.
You're the one. You're the one that's going to keep his spirit alive. You're the one that's going to make sure that he didn't die for nothing. Now you're going to have to go through hell, worse than any nightmare that you ever dreamed. But in the end, I know you'll be the one standing.
When faced by challenge, the mind skips into the future and says, what if I fail? What if I'm embarrassed? What if I get injured? What if I... And I have to give them a different way of thinking. And the thinking is, I may fail. I may get embarrassed. I may get injured, but I can deal with it because I'm strong. And because I prefer to be the kind of person who steps up and faces the challenge than the kind of person who stays below the line and avoids the challenge. What kind of person do you want to be? What do you want? How badly do you want it? How much are you willing to suffer? Those three questions our high performers face every day.
Every day you wake up, you're gonna probably be set back for the first 4 weeks before you lose to significant weight because of the mind is gonna be you the whole time. There's no dopamine. There's no dopamine in there at 300 pounds. You got nothing. Your hormones are shot. You have to envision something that is more powerful than you. Something has to get you out of bed. And you have to create it. It has to be false. Because you're not it. You're a fat piece of shit. And that's the reality of it. So you have to create a false reality to live in that, just to get to work on yourself.
If there's not something where you wake up every day and there's nothing in your life that you're excited to do, man, you need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Because if all you're doing is just grinding it out, you get up every day, go to a job you don't like, do tasks you don't care to do, and come home to a home you don't want to come home to, and wait to get up and do it again the next day, you're burning daylight. What the hell existence is that?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Find something. I don't care if it's gardening or music or art or athletics or something. Find something you're excited to do.
Following your dreams is a lonely, solitary, scary, dangerous pursuit. You can't wait for somebody to think you can do it. And it's like, because they don't think you can do nothing they can't do.
Exactly, bingo.
Right? You know what I mean? It's like, it's a lonely, scary, dangerous pursuit, and you got to be willing to risk everything to become that seed of what you believe is in there. You got to be fearless. You got to be relentless. Everybody has dreams, and as much as you want to be able to listen a little bit, because somebody's going to give you a gem, but nobody knows but you. You can't get advice on what you should do with your life.
If you think the price of winning is too high, wait till you get the bill from regret. And that bill from regret is generational. That bill has been passed on from generation to generation, and you are holding that bill right now. And somebody in one of your generations has to pay that bill off. And the only way that bill gets paid off is you gotta be willing to make the hardest decisions.
Every morning when you get up, say over and over to yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now. I do it now, do it now. Whenever you have this tendency to procrastinate, program your subconscious mind with this automatic conditioned command. Do it now, do it now, do it now. The key to overcoming procrastination is to develop a sense of urgency. Be the kind of person who gets things done quickly. Be the kind of person who launches fast on a task. One of the ways to launch fast on a task is to take the task and break it up, what is called salami slicing it. Slice a piece of salami. Don't try to eat a whole loaf of salami, you just eat it one slice at a time. Take your task and break it up into small pieces and do one piece at a time. Say over and over to yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now.
Stop listening to the normality of life and everyone saying the way it is the way it's going to be for you. The way it is for you is blood, sweat, and tears today to create a foundation of strength for tomorrow. Those days combined into whatever dream you want to be a reality. We are always fighting for that edge, always fighting for that opportunity. So it's not past, it's not missed, but lived. We're not going to cry about those opportunities. We're going to smile, remember them, and thank God they came because we were ready when they came. You won't be ready if today isn't pushed with the strenuous nature and the pressure of the moment in the future that everything rides on. That stress of everybody on you, and it's a make or break moment in your life, must exist today with no one watching.
Some of you just don't understand. Some of you have been average for so damn long, you don't know what it is to do hard work. But there's a lot of you out there who want to be much more than average, but just don't know how to do it every single day, the grind. You need to find someone to oil those gears up. So check it out. This is a mindset. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But there's a out there who wants what you have, who wants the position you are, who wants the job you have, who wants the wife that you have, or the husband. There's someone out there hungry and wants everything you have. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But if it is, it's gonna be your ass. So make that a motivation for you. Stay hard.
You guys must be the now of what you want to be later. It starts right now. And if you're not doing the now, don't ever expect the later to be the person you want to look in the mirror. Everyone's like, oh, later in life, I want to do this. Later in life, I want to do that. Later in life is turning around, looking in the mirror right now. That's later in life. And unless that turnaround is something in progression, later in life ain't gonna be anything different.
It's all in your mind. Whatever you hold in your mind will tend to occur in your life. If you continue to believe as you have always believed, you will continue to act as you have always acted. You will continue to get what you have always gotten. If you want different results in your life or your work, all you have to do is change your mind.
Mediocrity is a disease, and most people are infected. You surround yourself with weak minds, weak excuses, and weak habits, and you become one of them. If you want to rise above, you have to cut ties with average. Stop looking for approval. You don't need a crowd to push you. If you want to achieve greatness, it's lonely, it's brutal, it's painful. But that's where you find out who you really are. And when you make it through, you don't just inspire yourself, you show others what's possible. So just lead the way.
People either survive in the jungle or exist in the zoo. Few recognize the significance of the paradoxical reconciliation of the two. It takes a rare individual who understands how cunning and aggressive one has to be to acquire an estate such as yours.
Something that's a personal curse that's difficult, think about it as the selection criteria that everybody has to get over. That's the reason why so few people are equanimous and actually have peace in their mind. Because meditation is hard and everyone thinks, am I doing it right? This kind of sucks and I'm twitchy and I'm tired today. Why are so few people in shape? Because going to the gym and sticking to the gym is difficult. Maybe it's a tiny bit easier for some people that like it than others, but for most people, most of the time, it's really, really hard. Thinking about the challenges that you need to face is just a selection criteria. The cost of doing business, right? This is just the cost of doing business, and I need to pay it.
What's your life gonna look like if you don't go out and build what the you want to build, that you have this little vision in your heart and in your mind of what your life should be like. And what are you going to feel like if you don't go do that? What are you going to feel like in a year, 5 years, 10 years? I can promise you, bro, that dream ain't going away. That dream was placed in your heart and in your mind by God. It is your purpose, and you are obligated to go build it. And for you to go build that, it's going to require executing when you don't feel like it.
If you'll make the promise of the future clear for yourself, the things you want, the places you want to go, the things you want to have, the person you want to become, the skills you want, the homes you want, the future you want, the friends you want, all of the values of life that you could possibly want. If you'll make that clear, make those lists, and be serious about it, I promise you it's an easy price to pay. Anybody can pay it. And the best advice I can give you is, if I can do it, you can do it. Farm boy from Idaho, raised in obscurity, I changed my life, turned it upside down, turned it all around, found economics, found future, found promise, and if I can do it, you can do it.
Fear is overcome. Hesitation is overcome. It's not overcome by motivation. It's overcome by discipline. That's why it trumps all these bullshit emotions that are floating around in people's head. I'm scared, I'm afraid, I'm nervous, I'm hesitant, I'm not sure if I want to do this, I'm second guessing, all those little things. They're just overridden by one thing and one thing only, discipline. And that's what it's going to take. So that's why that training is hard. And that's why the result is guys that can go out on the battlefield and they are going to deliver. They are going to execute no matter what they come up against. That is the discipline.
It's not about the shoes. It's about knowing where you're going, not forgetting where you started. It's about having the courage to fail, not breaking when you're broken, taking everything you've been given and making something better. It's about work before glory, and what's inside of you. It's doing what they say you can't. It's not about the shoes. It's about what you do in them. It's about being who you were born to be.
You can't Google success and you can't Google exposure. You can't Google now one of them things. Matter of fact, go home and Google it. Google success, see if you get it. Google exposure, see if you get it. You have to be exposed to certain things in order for you to know it. And success is hard. If I try to get my millennials to understand, it take a long time to make a lot of money. Daddy, you making money, I'm 61. It take a long time to make a lot of money. You can't just go make money because you got Google.
Every single failure and success of my life, something I overcame. So what happens in time of life when you're stressed out and things get bad, even the hardest guy in the world, me, everybody thinks, and I think I'm the hardest guy in the world. You gotta believe that. You gotta believe you are something. I will, in my mind, reach into my cookie jar, and sometimes you forget how hard you are in times of need. Because you're stressed, but you forget, I'm a Navy SEAL, I'm a Ranger, I'm this and that, but you forget all that because your life sucks. I calm down, take that 1 second, get control of my life, reach in the cookie jar. Well, you got called nigger your whole life, and you're now the only person in history to do this, and this. Put it back in the cookie jar, reset my mind. You have to remind yourself of how badass you really are in times of need. That's the cookie jar.
Those feelings of failure are so hard. They're so hard to get over, and they overwhelm people, and some people can't get past them. And then every time some new thing comes up, when you have to rise to the occasion, you have to perform, you think about that time you failed. Fucks your head up, man. You think, I'm a loser, I can't do this, I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fuck up, you know? Like bombing. Like, how many times have you had a bad set and you're like, God damn it, I suck at comedy, I can't do this. I can't do this. I suck at comedy. That's just it, I just suck. And then you define yourself that way, and you gotta get over it.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living.
I used to say, what if this happens? It's called the language of the poor. What if this happens? And on top of that, if this was to happen, look at the fix I'd be in. I better not try. I could always ace myself out. Then I'll tell you what changed my whole life when I finally discovered it's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. Don't ask for security, ask for adventure. Better to live 30 years full of adventure than 100 years safe in the corner. And see, it's not important how long you live. What's important is how you live.
So today, I decided to try to PR my long run. So the first half of the run, I'm feeling great. My mind is clear, nothing going on. Think about nothing but just my running pace, what I'm doing, my breathing, everything like that. Get to mile 15, I turn around, and the demons start to creep in. That inevitable wall is creeping up on me. When you push so hard, something's about to give. And I started to give. My mind started to break down. I started feeling my legs starting to hurt. I started feeling dehydrated. Started feeling sorry for myself. Started looking around. No one knows I'm out here running. Why don't you go ahead and just stop? Call your girl, have her pick you up. And that's when I feel like a little and this is when your mind has to change. You gotta start thinking, I'm the grittiest motherfucker in the world. Your dehydration? Okay, lick your fucking lips. Your legs are all sore. You feel like you got shin splits and stress fractures. No, you don't. You got sore legs. Get out of your head and stay hard.
The thought I was having was when we were young, we're told we can be anything. And then we realize it's a lie. And then we realize we're telling ourselves it's a lie because we actually just realize how much work it's going to take. And we'd rather believe it's a lie than we're not willing to work hard enough to achieve these things. And then it's kind of like this back and forth of like, can I? Or is it just too hard? Or am I just too weak? And it's back and forth. And, you know, I'm just so grateful I fell into something that I was so passionate about that took a lot of effort and work, but that I also loved to do.
And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful, as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep.
You got to put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful. Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself. Get out here and get about it.
Personal winters when your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces and the nights are unusually long. It is simply called winter time. But here's what you got to do in your own personal development, your own personal growth, and that is just get better at handling the winters. You can't change the winter. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. You say, well, what can I do about the upcoming winters of my life, the challenges that I know I'm going to face? Here's what you can do. You can get wiser and stronger and better.
No matter what you're doing in your life, you need to let discipline be your guide, not how you feel. That's what we need to do. And if you do that, you're going to end up with freedom. You're going to end up with freedom across the board. Discipline equals freedom. That's what I have been saying for a long time. It is 100% factually true. If you allow your feelings to dictate what you do, you will end up being a slave to your feelings at a minimum. But if you utilize discipline in your life, you will end up with the ultimate freedom in everything that you do.
You got to get through failure. It's very important. And you get through it by just picking yourself back up and moving forward and going. But it's hard for a lot of people because that sting, they never get over it, the feeling of failure. And they don't have a good support system, like good friends, like having a good community of friends It's very, very important, because you could feel like if you've been, a girl broke up with you and you feel like you're the worst, you're a loser, like you're a piece of shit. But then you go out with your friends and you have a few laughs, and next thing you know, you're laughing and you're like, I'm all right. We'll be all right. And then maybe you meet a new lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she like picks you up. You're like, oh, we're going to be okay. And then you learn from the last mistakes.
Yeah.
That's life.
If you are afraid and you give in to the fear and you back away, it becomes a habit to back away whenever you're afraid or unsure. If you're afraid and you force yourself to confront the fear, it becomes a habit to confront the fear whenever you find something that you're afraid of. And you'll find that most fears disappear when you confront them. And most fears, fears of failure, fears of rejection, fears of loss, fears of pain, fears of limitation, fears of the loss of a relationship, fears of ill health, most of these fears disappear when you confront them head on. It's almost like as you push them, they just turn into smoke and disappear. Dare to go forward in your life. Dare to go forward in the direction of fulfilling your potential.
Imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on, the ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes?
To be able at any moment to sacrifice what we are for what we could be. I don't do well in math. You're right. You ain't never studied. I'm not good in writing because you have never written before. But I dare you to fail in writing for a whole year to see if you can get to the end. I dare you to fail. I dare you to take that same class over and over again. I dare you to stop dropping classes like you soft. Always want to give up. I'm dropping. Why are you dropping? I'm so grateful that the slaves didn't drop and quit. Say, I'm just going to stop. I'm a slave. I'm just going to be a slave. I'm going to quit. Listen to me. The slaves said, we will live because one day we will become.
Be willing to do what others won't do. Yes, it takes discipline. Yes, you have to say no to carnal desires, but the pain of discipline is less than the pain of regret. It's hard to bite your tongue, not say what you feel, but that pain is less than the pain of having someone you love walk away. It's hard to lay off the junk food, things that are not good for you. That pain is less than the pain of not being healthy. It's hard to break away from a friend that's pulling you down, but that pain is less than not reaching your dreams.
The big picture of my life that I'm focusing on, of who I want to become going through all these things. So if I win an Olympia, how do I want to win that Olympia? Who do I want to be when I win that Olympia? How do I want to win it? How do I want to show up in my relationships? If I lose that Olympia, how do I want to lose? Who do I want to be when I lose? Who am I becoming through all these little challenges and goals along the way that aren't the big picture? Who am I becoming, which is the big picture? And I think that's so important for me to understand that everything that you choose to do and how you handle it is shaping who you're becoming.
I wanted the first story to be one of empathy and compassion. And in team sports, if you don't have that, you can't win, right? And so it was important to tell the tale of a basketball team dealing with their own personal fears and have those fears and insecurities lead to empathy and compassion for others, right? And with the second story, I wanted to look more internal, individually, and look at how do you deal with the inner challenges, the kind of the self-negotiation that takes place inside of our own heads.
You're more powerful than you think. Way more powerful than you think. I mean, God only knows what you are in the final analysis. You're blind to your own weaknesses, but you're also blind to your own strengths. And so then I think, well, if you got your act together, it'd be better for you, and instantly it would be better for your family, assuming they wanted you to get your act together, and not everyone does, and then it would be better for the community. It's like, how far could you take that? If you stopped wasting time, and if you stopped lying, and if you oriented yourself to the highest possible good that you could conceive of, and you committed to that, how much good could you do? Well, I would say, why don't you find out?
You have to be able to go into a very dark place in your mind and figure who you are. Go back to what you want to do. What's your purpose? We can't figure our purpose out or why we're here or why we're even born or whatever, because it's so loud in our mind. We don't have any quiet time with ourselves to sit back and say, what do I really want? There's so many different dialogues in our head that we can't think. So my biggest thing is you have to be alone in a very dark place in your mind to think about what is important to you.
Why not see how many books you can read, how many classes you can take, how many skills you can develop? Why not see how valuable you can become to the marketplace and to your friends and to your family? Why not see what you can make of yourself? Why not see how far you can go, how much you can see, how much you can earn, how much you can share? Why not?
Having those little indicators allow you to keep taking steps towards the ultimate thing and continue to push. I mean, I have a different tweet, which is that the world belongs to those who can continue to work without seeing the result of their work. Continue to do without seeing the result of their doing. And it's really the person who can do that for the longest period of time. And that's usually because they're still getting leading indicators. It's just that it's amounting to a much bigger mountain. And so like if you want to do big shit, it takes a way longer period of time because the easy shit, the little hills, everyone conquers really quickly. I'm on time. I say please and thank you. It's like, so fucking what? And so like if you want to do something that most people can't do, literally just extend the time horizon on the things that most people can't weather.
I gotta be honest, I gotta be right, I gotta be better. And that's when you know that when you're trying to do your best, your life sucks. And people don't get that. When you're trying to have the best character, when you're trying not to lie, and you're trying not to fucking put people down, and you're trying to live, you're trying to set the standard. When you're trying to be the standard, and that standard is out, you know, there's so much going wrong and going off in this world that if people can focus on themselves being better versus throwing hate and all this shit that happens out there and people talking shit, that's why I won't mention no names. I'm not trying to hurt you, man. But I'm trying to be the standard. And sometimes life is just not fun when you're like, can't do that, can't say that, gotta watch out for that.
Yeah.
I gotta wake up today. I gotta grind because there may be a out there that sees me in their car that says, all right, I'm gonna go home and be better today. So all these things are in my fucking mind. Every fucking day I wake up, every fucking day.
If my life was a movie and someone were to watch it, I hope they'd be inspired to take risks, not just risks to achieve success, but embrace feeling, both pride and shame, fear and excitement. Personally, I want to experience as much life as possible, and that only happens when you embrace the highs and the lows.
But everything you do matters. You're gonna have to carry that with you. Or do you want to just forget about the whole meaning thing and then you don't have any responsibility because who the hell cares? And you can wander through life doing whatever you want, gratifying impulsive desires for how useful that's going to be. And you're stuck in meaninglessness, but you don't have any responsibility. Which one do you want? Well, ask yourself, which one are you pursuing? And you'll find very rapidly that it isn't the majority of your soul that's pursuing the whole meaning thing, because, well, look what you have to do that. You have to take on the fact that life is suffering. You have to put yourself together in the face of that.
Projecting yourself forward to see what are the consequences of failing, what are the consequences of stopping, is about as powerful of a motivation strategy as I can think of, you know? Because what you're doing is you're trying to optimize right now to stop the discomfort.
That's right.
But what you're going to pay for that in is shame and guilt and regret long term.
That's right.
So what you need to be able to do is bundle all of that up that is as yet unfelt, but will last for way, way, way longer. You know, the future is much longer than now.
That's right.
The future is going to extend out up until the day that you die, and the now is just for now. And even 130 hours is just 130 hours.
That's right.
And you get to look back, and you look back with pride and glory.
I want to be one of the best basketball players who've ever played. That's the end goal. Okay, how do I get there? How do I get there? And every decision I made in my life was centered around the process of helping me eventually get there. You know what I'm saying? So I had that purpose. And once I had that purpose, every decision that I made was centered around that purpose.
Everyone's hypercritical and terrified to do anything and put themselves out there and fail. So we hyperanalyze, hypercriticize, become paralyzed, and end up doing nothing, sitting in our basements watching TikToks of other people's lives, pretending that they're happy. I was having one of those cynical days and felt like ranting a little. But honestly, there's optimism here for some low barrier of entry personal growth. Stop analyzing, stop criticizing, both yourself and others, and go fail at some shit. Go give someone a good job for sucking at something because at least they're trying. Maybe it will even give yourself permission to do the same. We find meaning in trying difficult things, not just in succeeding at them.